Have you ever wondered what lies beyond the Skywalker saga? Maybe you heard something about the Old Republic, but you're not sure if it's worth your time? Get ready to be transported thousands of years back to uncover the secrets of Jedi and Sith, live through their conflicts and remarkable stories. Grab your lightsaber, buckle up, and let's experience this captivating chapter of galactic history together as I present to you 10 facts about the Old Republic that will ignite your passion for Star Wars like never before. Number 1. How and when it all began. The Old Republic made its first ever appearance in 2003 when a groundbreaking game has been released, Knights of the Old Republic. This choice-based RPG from Asper, BioWare and EA was genre-defining at the time. For today's player, it might look a bit outdated, but this title has brought us some of the best concepts known to Star Wars to this day, full of lore, new planets, Sith, Jedi, Mandalorians, and so much more. KOTOR and its sequel was an astounding success and later point of reference when it comes to the spin-off materials. Number 2. When is it set in the Star Wars timeline? When we take the usual measurement of time in the galaxy far far away, which are years before Battle of Yavin, or BBY in short, this era spans millennia, from the founding of the Republic in 25,053 BBY to the end of New Sith Wars in 1000 BBY. This is a lot of time, and furthermore, tons of stories happened during this period. Catching up to them takes quite a while, but trust me on this as I walked this path before. It is a journey well worth your effort. Your passion for this universe will be immensely increased, and your hunger for more stories never satisfied. Number 3. What defines the Old Republic? First thing that comes to mind is that the technology is way less advanced, the planets less populated and developed, droids more primitive. These are only a couple of examples from a vast expansion of this universe. Such state of the galaxy has its own kind of steampunk vibe to it. The state of the factions that steer the galactic events is like nothing you've seen before. The Jedi were very different to the ones we know from the movies, and so were the Sith. Both in numbers and philosophy, they fight for dominance throughout this whole period, with the latter making comeback after comeback in greater number and prowess. They don't call it Sith era for nothing. Number 4. How is the Old Republic different to the High Republic? This might confuse some new fans who are first entering this universe. Quick version goes like this. High Republic begins when the Old Republic ends. For a bit longer version though, High Republic marks the golden age for the galaxy and the Jedi Order. The Sith are all but extinct, and everyone believes life is nothing but sunshine and rainbows. During the Old Republic, however, Sith waged total war against the Jedi, trying to rule or destroy everything, depending on who was their actual leader at the time. Galaxy in turmoil, where no one is safe. Number 5. Iconic characters. As you may have already guessed, none of the characters who were present in the original saga could have lived that long to appear in the Old Republic, even Master Yoda. What would be a story without amazing characters? Sequel trilogy, I guess, but I digress. From this era come legends such as Darth Revan, a Jedi turned Sith and turned Jedi again, who confronted the Emperor and ended the Mandalorian Wars. His wife, Bastila Shan, a pillar for the Jedi Order and a very strong female character. Yes, the Old Republic era has plenty of these, such as her descendant Satil Shan, who would rise to the rank of Grandmaster, leading the Jedi in the period of the greatest disorder. Darth Malgus, whose ferocity and cruelty, but also cunning and force abilities, marked him one of the best Sith of all time. We cannot forget about the Sith Triumvirate, Darth Traya, Sion and Nihilus, who nearly drove Jedi to extinction before Palpatine thought it was cool. And last, but definitely not least, Darth Bane, a legendary Dark Lord who introduced the Rule of Two. Number 6. The Sith and Jedi Wars. This era is hugely defined by the war between light and the dark side of the Force. with the Sith wanting to tear everything apart and rule the galaxy, and the Jedi as the defenders of peace and prosperity. There were so many different conflicts in the Old Republic, and the scales of them at least few times bigger than the Clone Wars. The huge armies of Sith, Jedi and their allies fighting over the control of every planet, using complicated tactics or committing horrific atrocities in order to gain an upper hand. Number 7. The Mandalorians. The Old Republic is where this warrior race was at its peak. The sheer number of Beskar armored Mandoade was staggering. Accompanied by their technology and hunger for conquest, it led to several conflicts with the Jedi, Republic, and the Sith. This is also when their culture took shape, grew, and transformed to pass on to the further generations. These bucketheads were a force to be reckoned with for sure, but always lacked a smart leader who would secure them a winning position. When defeated on multiple occasions, they would scatter and take to bounty hunting before a new leader emerged, and they would ride to battle once more. The history really likes to repeat itself, doesn't it? Number 8. How you can experience the Old Republic. So I already mentioned the games before, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. The first games were of course Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. From these emerged the online version, which is known as Star Wars The Old Republic, or swtor in short. My personal favorite. This 12-year-old MMORPG is still being supported and right now moving to a different studio, which could also mean a second life for this old game. There is a ton of play hours in all of them, and I would highly recommend you check them out, specifically in that order. Apart from the gamer approach, we also have an abundance of books and comics from many different authors. Stories of Revenant Bastila, Mandalorian Wars, New Sith Wars, Darth Bane Trilogy, and many, many more. If you want to delve deeper, don't hesitate to ask me anything right down in the comment section. Number 9. Is it canon? Well, yes. And no. Not all of it at least. For many fans, myself included, Expanded Universe, which this era originates from, will always be canon, because some motives and understanding of Star Wars were introduced to us right here. You can't just simply put a line through it and pretend it doesn't exist. Trust me, I really tried to do the same with the sequels, but they never go away. Do not despair, my friend, as some part of the Old Republic will be coming back to Disney canon. But we as fans can't really be certain if this is good news or not. I will leave that up to you to decide for yourself. Number 10. Upcoming Old Republic projects. Are you already psyched by this era, but don't know if you want to commit yet? Don't worry, because there are projects surrounding this period that are currently in the works. The biggest one is the remake of the original Knights of the Old Republic, which, as you remember, jump-started this whole thing. Imagine it with today's graphics and development possibilities. Disney itself canonized the Old Republic as a period during this year's Star Wars celebration, so there is definitely something cooking. And if you cannot wait, jump straight into action with the OG version of KOTOR, or an online version if you so desire. Maybe go to your local bookshop or library, check out some of the books and comics if that's your fancy. As it was with the original saga, you'll never know when you'll get hooked. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe for more weekly Star Wars content, as there is always place for you in the Star Wars world. May the Force be with you.